Hello, everybody. Today we are doing our professional development on social emotional learning, SEL. The question I want you to think about is, do your emotions pause your learning? Again, do your emotions pause your learning? So, when you think about social emotional learning, a lot of times teachers wonder, can they teach social emotional learning when they're not a counselor? How can they teach emotions, feelings, how to blend it, how to put it together, how to keep going? These are questions that come up all the time when teachers are told they have to teach social emotional learning to students. Social emotional learning has now been made a part of everyday learning. It has been incorporated into the schedules for teachers. So now we have to make sure that we are able to um, teach social emotional learning so students can go through life, go through learning, go through classes, and deal with different emotional situations. What do you know about social emotional learning? Why do you believe that it is important? Do you believe that you have to be a counselor to teach social emotional learning? So these are the other questions that you're going to ask yourself. Do you believe it's important to teach social emotional learning? And do you believe you have to be a counselor to teach social emotional learning? So social emotional learning, we're going to watch a short video on what is social emotional learning and why social emotional learning matters.
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills, and it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy.
Sorry, let's do this again. Glitches in the system.
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills, and it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults. When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
So as you can see, social emotional learning is very important to kids, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So when we look at social emotional learning, there are 5 competency areas that we must teach students in order for them to be well-rounded students or well-rounded individuals. There's self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision making, and self-awareness. Let's start with self-management. Self-management is the ability to successfully regulate one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in different situations. How many times have we walked out of a classroom and kids are fighting, arguing, crying, isolated? And it's because of lack of self-management. Under the self-management, there is impulse control. A lot of times students do what's at the top of their heads. If it once it's thought, it's done. So when we're able to teach them how to control their impulse, it'll delay the gratification. So gratification is when someone needs their desire met right then and there, where they want everything when they see it, how they see it at that time. We have to teach them how to distract themselves from desires and not act on impulse. Sometimes their students' desire is to cause problems. Sometimes their desire is not to cause problems, but it just happens. Sometimes students take an action before they process it and think it through. So then we come to self-management. That means utilizing processing. So let me explain what processing is. Processing is when you think about what's getting ready to happen. You think about the consequence that's going to happen if you do that action, if you say it, and then you decide on a healthy choice, the best decision. So when we teach them how to handle themselves through stress, and that includes homework, classwork, dealing with teachers, parents, themselves, because there's not only just a conflict of stress with other people, sometimes students have stress with themselves. The stress can be from being overwhelmed because of so many classes or activities. Um, it can be stress from gender identity. It can be stress from bullying. It can be stress, just natural stress that they have learned, a learned behavior. So we have to help them be mindful of being stressed and strategies to help control the stress. Then there's self-discipline. Self-discipline is when you're able to control your feelings and your impulses, having the willpower to tell yourself no or to walk away. Sometimes having that control to just say, you know what, right now I can't do it. So I need to step away, relax, and come back to it. There's been research done that when individuals set a goal, they become successful. They have a purpose. So a lot of times Children, students don't know how to set goals. We got grown people that don't set goals. So just think about how a grown person feel when they don't have a goal and they're trying to figure out which direction to go. So if we start teaching goal setting at a young age, then students are more apt to stay out of trouble, to follow the path that's going to meet their goal. And they will pick people or friends or peers to be around that have the same mindset as they have. One of the biggest part of self-management is self-motivation. You have to be your own cheerleader, and that's what we have to teach students, to tell themselves good things every day. It's called positive affirmations. We teach them how to tell themselves they're beautiful, they're smart, they're handsome. They can do anything. They can get through the day. They don't have to fight. They don't have to respond. They can control anything that's necessary to help build them up, motivate them, and cultivate them to be the best of who they are. Because self-motivation means that we're teaching them to be go-getters and to push themselves internally. We're also teaching them organizational skills, how to keep binders in order, how to keep their homework, how to be on a good time management to finish everybody's work, how to keep themselves together, how not to have a cluttered chaos, and how to create healthy mental pictures is very important for self-management. Now let's look at social awareness. It's how to develop healthy social skills. So when you think about social skills, you think about meet and greets, talking to peers around us, walking up to another peer and speaking, being able to socialize. So how to develop healthy social skills? Being able to display emotions and empathy for individuals as well. So when we're teaching students about social emotional learning, we're teaching them that they are not the only ones that go through things. There are other people that do. Sometimes we got to have empathy. So we teach them how to have empathy for other people so they don't make fun of that person, so they don't use it as a running joke. We also display emotions. We start teaching students emotions in pre-K and kinder. We teach them what happy look like, what sad look like, what content look like, what angry look like. These are emotions that have to be created internally so that they can display externally. But they also have to be learned how to be controlled at the same time. Then being able to identify nonverbal cues, social nonverbal cues, to determine how a person feels. Sometimes kids say things and don't know the effect that it has on that next person. So they need to learn how to notice if they say something, that person walk off, if that person put their head down, if they person facial gestures change. They need to know what's going on with that person to understand either you've hurt that person's feeling, you offended someone, or you need to see what's going on, or if you did something. That goes with the empathy as well. Then kids as well as adults have to also model and demonstrate cultural awareness sensitivity. Because we have so many cultures, traditions, we have to be mindful of that. And because of our new era of gender identity, we also have to be, that's a culture, so we have to be mindful of that too. And we have to model as teachers how to respect cultural differences and respect everyone's differences of themselves. Being able to use reflective listening to comprehend and model respect for everyone. A lot of times students want to just blah out words. So when they blah out words, they don't really understand that they're cutting off someone else. So reflective listening is being able to sit and listen and then be able to piggyback off of what you're saying, because it shows that you listen, you incorporated what I said, and now you can add to it. Being able to identify community, school, and family resources for assistance. So a lot of times kids know more about other kids than teachers, counselors, principals, even parents. So we want them to be able to identify who they can come to as a resource or assistance. Because a lot of times peers tell other peers they've been abused mentally, physically, or sexually, or verbally, that they do not have food, clothes, water, electricity, or they're getting ready to be evicted, or they're left at home by themselves. So therefore, they need to understand who they can come to and who they can trust, or what resources are out there for them. So being able to see through other people's eyes is a necessity a lot of times. Are there any questions about what we've went over thus far? Very good. So now we've looked at self-management, social awareness. Now we're going to look at relationship skills. And if you look at it, self-management, social awareness, they work hand in hand when it deals with a relationship. Because relationships deal with managing self, and how you look at other things will be how you look at other people. Social awareness comes in being able to have empathy for your friend, being able to be sensitive to their culture and their life and what they do. So how do you view friendship? Being able to manage and resolve conflict. There are many times students know how to yell at each other, know how to cuss each other out, know how to fight, but how do they take the information that's going on? Again, here's that word, process it, and then come up with a solution, a healthy solution for both parties. A lot of times students feel like if one walk away, it makes them weak. Well, we have to teach them that when they find solutions, it make you stronger. And when you don't find a solution and you a problem, that's what makes you weak. Then providing and seeking help for those who need it. Being able to, as I went back to social awareness, the resources and the assistance. When a student when one of the students learn that one of their students need help, who can they come to? Who can they trust to give the information to, and it's not used against them or made out of a joke? And that's where we come to knowing when to use humor at the appropriate times. Because a lot of times students take what has happened to someone and make it a running joke, in which now, there we go again, the empathy is gone, and we've caused the issue with that person. So we have to know what's humorous and what's not humorous. So we have to teach students what can be joked about, when you can joke, and when you can't. It's a turn on and turn off. Being able to create healthy relationships with diverse individuals or groups. That's that cultural awareness again. We have so many different groups now. We have a lot of different people to have different belief systems in their religion. We have a lot of them that don't have a religion. Then we have a lot of individuals we have the heterosexual, we have the homosexual, we have the transgender, we have the LGBTQ, we have the non-conforming. We have so many different groups that we have to be mindful of that and respectful. You don't have to like it, but you should respect it because they respect you and who you are. So this is what we're teaching them. And this in itself, we're teaching them these skills so that they can develop and connect with people in a more friendly way. So it says develop a connection and friendship. So that's needed, because if we don't connect better, then what happens? It's a disconnect. Being able to have an effective communication and listening skills. There we go, right back again. Being able to listen, reflective listening means that effective communication means that I can talk to you and I can listen. I can give you feedback on what you said. My communication is going to be positive and healthy, truthful and honest and genuine. When I listen, I'm going to listen whole completely and not selective listening. That's what creates effective communication and listening skills. Then resisting inappropriate social peer pressure. So a lot of times peers are influenced by their friends. How do you teach peers not to fall prey to social pressure? We demonstrate, we model, and we provide explanations to what happened, the consequences to it. We're now going to look at responsible decision making. So if we teach students to be responsible decision makers, right now they'll grow up to be responsible decision makers as adults. Being able to identify the problem. So now we go back again to relationship skills. Being able to manage and resolve conflict. When you are trying to make a decision, you have to be able to identify what the problem is. Second bullet point, view the situation. After you see the problem in the situation, now let's find some options. What are the options for the situation? And then of the option, what will it look like? What will the end result look like from those options? After you look at the problem, create the options, then the consequences to the option, you now are able to make a decision in the best interest of self and others. Now the question is, do you have the ability to make healthy choices? Everybody have the ability to make healthy choices. These are the ways to help with decision making. Brainstorm different ideas and point of views. So therefore that means sometimes you don't have the only point of view. Sometimes somebody else have another point of view. Sometimes someone else's ideas may be better. You got to be okay with saying their idea is better and their point of view is better. It's okay to share the ideas. Back up, breathe, and evaluate the situation. Review options and analyze the outcome of the options. Be confident in self and making a decision. Once you have made a decision, stick to it, as long as it's truthful, honest, and genuine. This is where critical thinking takes place. The last part of our competencies is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the capabilities of identifying your emotions and how they affect you, your thinking, and behavior. Examples, paying attention to what bothers you about other people. Sometimes people bother us and we can hide it or ignore it. Sometimes kids got to learn how to deal with when people are annoying to them, when people get on their nerves, because sometimes they just don't know how to do it. So they act out. So we teach them how not to respond to everything, react to everything, and that they don't always have to join that party. That party that's being introduced, they don't have to RSVP. Meditate on your mind, meaning that take time to think for yourself, align your thinking to the needs or necessities, and just get away and get a peace of mind. Read high quality fiction, meaning that sometimes it's okay to read something that's uplifting. That's not true. You need something to help you enjoy life. to take you out of the normal living. Identify your emotional kryptonite. So you have to identify what keeps you down emotional. So when you do that, you're teaching kids about what keeps them down. So then you teach them how to identify emotions, how to identify what happens in between that emotion that is being displayed. If it's music that's slow, stay away from it. If it's music that's telling you to hurt yourself, stay away from it. If it's toxic people, you stay away from it. If it's people that always want to have a fight, always want to get an argument, or never see anything good, you stay away from it. Those are emotional kryptonites. Individuals that are not moving and going anywhere are emotional kryptonite. Draw a timeline on your life. A lot of times when you do a timeline, you start with the age you remember. And you can do it in increments of 5 or increments of 10. And every time something good happened or bad happened, you put what it was, what went on, and you keep it going. What you're doing is looking to see if you have a pattern. If you have a pattern of the same thing that caused you to be unhappy, or what is the pattern that's causing you to be happy? The pattern to make you unhappy or the pattern to make you happy. If it makes you happy, then you take it and you keep going with it. If it makes you unhappy, what can you do to change it so you don't continue to do the same pattern over and over? That's what we're teaching our students, how to not do the same pattern over and over that gets them in trouble, that makes them not do their work, that make them procrastinate. Timeline. Ask for feedback and take it well. Constructive criticism. How many times as adults we don't take criticism well? I'm going to say constructive criticism. We want feedback, but we really don't want to hear it. So we have to teach students that it's okay to get feedback. Sometimes the feedback is not what they want to hear, or it's not what they care to hear, or that they like to hear. But we have to teach them that it's okay to say, okay, I hear you, and then move on. They don't have to stay in that party. Then do some micro travel. So right now we're in a COVID. That's why we're on a Zoom professional development, and things are different. But just because you can't travel to another country or state, do some traveling to other neighborhoods that you wouldn't normally go in, or other areas of your county. Learn about other areas, what's going on there, what's new there. And it also distracts you and take your mind off of things, and it keep you aware of who you are and what you're about. And it also make you more aware of your biases as well. So that's what we're teaching kids. Step outside a little bit to learn somebody else. Meaning that sometimes you got to step outside of you in order to learn you, to have a self-awareness of you. Learn a new skill. If you already perfected one, learn another. It's nothing wrong with learning something new. Identify distorted thinking. Meaning that identify when you're always thinking negative, wrong, or getting into something. That's what we're going to teach them. When is it that you think, excuse me, when is it that you think like this? What is causing your distorted thinking? We need to help them identify when their thoughts go a different way than good. And we need to teach them how to make time to clarify their values. What is valuable to you? What can you do to help value you? What increases your value? These are matters that we have to teach our students. So this is part of emotional awareness, social emotional awareness. The other part of social awareness is, who are you? What do you want? Why do you want it? And how will it help you? Accept you for who you are and what you will or will not do. Meaning that be okay with you and be comfortable with you, where you're not having to take on an identity of somebody else, like a peer. Deciding to provide discipline to self and understand that all fall off plan. Just get back on the plan, meaning that we all fall off track. We all end up having an obstacle or a challenge that causes us to derail a little bit off of our plan. But it's okay because we all fall off. Just get back on. So we teach our students to persevere through hurt, pain, problems, challenges, obstacles, issues, grief, whatever it is, just get back on. Then taking care of self, meaning self-care time. Listening to your body when it says it's tired, you need to get away, you need to separate for a little bit, or treat yourself. We have to teach students how to reward themselves in a positive way. We have to teach them that it's okay to step away from the computer, the games, the books, the phone, go play outside, go take a nature walk, go exercise, go play ball, go do something that's enjoying, but it's also peaceful. Put self first because you matter is what we're teaching. Now, we're going to do a little social emotional learning role play. So in order for us to teach it, we have to first become it. So in order to understand how to teach it, we have to learn how to place ourselves in different positions. So our role plays consist of cooperation. You have been assigned to a group for English language art reading project, and you do not like the two peers that you're grouped with. Then the other one is trust. A friend of yours no longer trusts you because you told other people what she told you in a private conversation. Now you want the friendship back and want to regain trust and faith. Then we got inclusion. You notice that a student with special needs is sitting alone at lunch. The student always seems to be left out. How do you bridge the gap or make the student feel wanted? Caring. Your friend did not make the team and you did. Your friend is upset, stops talking to you, and decides not to answer any of your phone calls. What actions, if you can make with your friends? Is it your choice to make anything or make something happen with your friend? Should you? You are the cause of that your friend not making the team. So do you act or not? Courage. You just saw a good friend take another student's lunch without asking. What do you do about the situation? So this is called Let's Practice What We Teach. So we're going to break off into groups, and I'll give you about 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back and you're going to tell me what you learned from those different role plays. Okay, so we're back. How was the role playing? Okay, what did we learn? So we learned a lot. We learned about sometimes it's okay not to like people, but respecting them. And then a lot of times we may find out that we dislike someone and we don't even know why we do. Maybe because somebody brought us information that we didn't know about, but we trusted that information. Then we learned in this group that those people was nothing like somebody told us. All we did was cooperate. Okay, caring. So somebody said that they would go to their friend and say, what's going on? Why you mad at me? Okay, what if your friend don't take it well? Someone said, just let the friend have time to cool down. They're upset, they may be embarrassed, they may be humiliated. They may feel like they've let themselves down. So let them relax, come back. Okay. Trust. So how many times have students told their peers something in private and they peer come back and say, well, I didn't know that it was private. They didn't tell me not to say anything. Because students, kids don't know when to talk about something and when not to talk about something. So we can say it has to be a clear communication across the board. So we have to teach kids when to tell someone not to talk about this please don't put it out. But we also have to teach them who they can trust to talk to somebody about certain things. So there are many times you have students that may be new, they might have mental illness, they may be different, whatever the case may be. We teach students to be leaders and stand outside of everybody else around them. We teach them it's okay that if this group of people don't want to reach out, it's okay for you to reach out. Because you never know when you're in a position where you want somebody to reach back out to you. Because everybody starts new somewhere at some given time. Last but not least, courage. Courage to tell your friend, I seen what you did last summer. No, I'm just playing. I seen what you did. You need to go put that back. So what if that person don't put it back? And you say, stay out of my business and get out the way. Go and tell. That is exactly right. And sometimes you may not even want to, you can go and do an anonymous tale. We teach students it's okay to come and report some anonymously. But again, as adults, when they say, please don't tell who said it, let's take that unless it was something that was hurtful to that student. If it was abuse, then we have to say, well, so-and-so told us. And then sometimes we don't. We just go and do our report ourselves. Sometimes you don't have to give up the source. We just take care of the situation. Again, we're practicing what we teach. So social emotional, I had the question at the beginning. Do your emotions pause your learning? Yes, it does. Sometimes when we're going through things ourselves as adults, grief, relationship breakups, life not going our way, challenges, obstacles, overwhelmed. Sometimes we don't want to work. Sometimes we give the kids worksheets because we don't want to talk. We just want to sit there and deal with our emotions. Sometimes we put on movies. We deal with it differently because we're adults. Now think about how we deal with it. Now how do they deal with it? And they don't even know how to deal with it. So when we get through and go through, don't we need to teach students how to get through and go through too? So did you do anything different that would say you needed a counseling certification? You deal with cooperation every day with people. You deal with trust, inclusion, caring, courage, self-management, self-awareness, making decisions, relationships. We deal with these things as adults every day. Why is it that since we deal with it, we can't share the information to students who need to learn it? Because we had to learn, why not teach it to them? So we're coming to the end and we're going to reflect back. So I've given you a Jamboard in chat. Go on your Jamboard and I need you to provide me 3 things you're taking away from this professional development. 3 things. I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, I see some. I see it's okay to step back. Teaching students how to deal with social emotional can be an everyday thing, okay? It doesn't take you being a counselor, it takes you being an adult and being an educator. That is correct. I see a lot of good things because if we are the educators, we sometimes have students that go through things in our classroom. Do we pass them on? Do we wait or do we try to help them get through it so they can get their work finished? So Q&A time. What questions do you have about the training? What do you need me to expand on more? And what material do you need to be successful in teaching social emotional learning? You can place these answers on the parking lot of the Jamboard, or you can email me these answers. Yes. Any material that you need to help you teach social emotional learning, just let me know and I can provide you that information. I want to thank you for being a part of my professional development on social emotional learning. I'm going to stop sharing and take you to, and I'm going to share again with the survey that I will need for you to fill out. Here is your professional development evaluation checklist. Please fill this out to its entirety. Make any comments, and you can even put the answers to those questions from the last slide in the comment box. I will be emailing each and every person this slide so that you can have it and for your reference. So again, please fill out the survey. It's in your email. It's in a Word doc, so you can type in it from the Word doc and email it, save it, and email it back to me, share it to me. Once I receive your email, then I will also send you your certificate for training. So in an everyday world, we would have a survey on the table. As you exit, you give me the survey, I give you your certificate. Well, again, we're in a COVID world. So now your survey is online through your email, and you will also receive a certificate through your email. So again, I hope that everything was clear for you. My email is shannon.lee@desotoisd.org. I look forward to seeing all emails and surveys. Thank you for your time in this professional development, and I hope that you learned something from it. Thank you.